can't say Dr. Mo ain't tell ya that fear mag.
Hey everybody, welcome to Perpetual Motion, a podcast focused on lifestyle, self-care, empowerment, and positive relationships. I'm your host, Dr. Mo Anderson, best-selling author, podcast host, keynote speaker, TEDx speaker, and speaker coach. My goal for every episode is to elevate, educate, and motivate you in a manner that adds immediate value. I'm talking about taking away something right now for your personal and professional growth. If you're new to the show or a returning visitor, let's make this official and hit that like and subscribe button, depending on the platform you're on, so that you'll be notified weekly when we upload a new podcast with a fascinating thought leader from around the world, like our guest today. Dr. Daphne Erhart has over 25 years of experience in the field of psychology. Help me. She's a master NLP practitioner, author, speaker, solo female world traveler, and self-care expert. She does it all. She helps others learn to care for themselves and avoid preventable suffering from unresolved problems and diseases. Welcome, Dr. Daphne.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Mo, and congratulations on your TED Talk that just came out. That's so exciting. I watched it, and it's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You're such an inspiration.
It's been up less than a week and has several thousand views, so I appreciate every one of you who has watched it, and I just hope it goes on to do some really great things. Try to fight unconscious bias, in every form. That's just a huge problem. And I'm just trying to do my little part to bring some light on.
Very valuable message.
Where are you today? I know you are quite the traveler. Where are you now?
I'm in Washington, D.C. right now, today. Let's see, where do I even start? I'm doing a whole year of traveling around the world as a solo female traveler. And I've done about 6 months, and I'm taking my 6-month break around the holiday time. And also I was here for a festival. It happened to be called Interfusion Festival, and I did a few workshops there. So it's nice to be here in person right now, but I'm going to be taking off again soon.
I am excited about that because I see a lot of travelers on IG. I travel a bit, and TikTok and wherever, but a year of solo travel for a female. I don't think most of us really know anyone who's been able to do that or just had the courage to do it, things that are going on throughout the world. But I think it's probably safer in most other places, really, if you look at the data, than it is in the U.S. Is that correct?
I feel pretty safe. In the places that I choose, I feel sometimes even safer. Yeah. It's been good, though. I'm so happy to have the ability to do it finally in my life at the age of 46.
That's fantastic. I mean, a lot of people, unfortunately, never leave the state they live in, let alone the country. So to get to do that, and how do you share your experiences with other people as you're doing this? Like, is it just a personal thing? Or are you blogging about it?
I actually have a YouTube channel. It's called Soulspatravel, and I have 3 playlists on that. I have my travel experiences. That's for friends, family, and anyone who just wants to learn about the world. Try to do small little videos in each country or each location. And then I also have my meditation playlist and informational inspiration playlist there.
It's a very comprehensive website. And I didn't realize it was part of your journey, but I did see a really nice video of you walking on the beach and talking about tips to alleviate stress, which we'll get to. But just want to put it out there to particularly women who feel like you've got to have 15 girlfriends with you to go somewhere. And it's always about who's got the time and who's got the money. And, just go is the point. Yeah. Just go do it. Live your life. Enjoy. Post pictures and encourage other people to go like Dr. Daphne.
Sometimes it's hard to find anyone to go with you. And sometimes the best thing is just go by yourself, you can do it.
Exactly.
You will meet friends there. You will meet friends, and the world is a beautiful place. It's filled with people who want to connect.
And I've only been on a couple of trips solo. I went to Negril and I can't Los Cabos, and I think the people were even more kind, particularly, service people, the staff or whatever. When they saw I was alone, people went out of their way to assist me and to make sure I was safe, I was all right, to warn me if there was something I should avoid. So it's really a good experience, and it gave me courage for other things. I think, like, I can do that.
What can't you do? You can do anything you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have a wonderful tagline, and I'd like you to explain it. If I'm saying it correctly, it's change your heart, change your mind, change your life.
Yes, change your heart, change your mind, change your life. So this is part of my soul spot. And in fact, when I first started this idea about 10 years ago, my tagline, it was inside out fitness, because I think our lives start from the inside out. It's not from the outside in. We have to have a perfect diet routine that somebody else tells us about. No, we start from inside, what we need as a person. And our hearts are involved, our mindset, our thoughts are extremely, extremely important. They even affect our lifespan. I was speaking last weekend about neuroplasticity, which is the ability of your brain to be malleable, to change according to things that we can actually do. So yes, traumatic events, negative things have, affect our brain, but we also have a lot of power to create a lifestyle that produces neuroplasticity and helps our brain have changes that will predict longevity. So one of those things was that studies show that when you first wake up in the morning, your thoughts, and when you fall asleep at night, right before you fall asleep, those thoughts there, those 2 times a day are extremely important, and they can actually lengthen these things in your brain called telomeres, which are in the chromosomes, and the length of that can predict how longevity. So our thoughts can actually have such an impact on even how long and our quality of life. So, and how we think affects how we feel, obviously, too. So that is the core of that tagline, that we change from the inside out.
I think that's beautiful. And that's really a good way to get to know people as well. My closest friends have been my friends for 30, 41 for 56 years. And they all are very beautiful people inside. If you ask me to describe them, I would start with their spirit and their character. It would not be with their external appearance, because I'm connected to them in that way. And when I get to know people, that's really important to me. So many people want to know what you do and not who you are. And are you saying that the words, positive words or activities, kind of have a reparative effect on whatever damage is being done to our brains by other things?
Yes, we can heal. We can create new neural pathways. And that's one thing I like about travel also. Travel and trying new things, being exposed to new ways of thinking and being and doing, create new neural pathways. It helps our brain. It helps us live longer. It helps everything. So in travel, it's just inevitable that there's going to be some new experience that I've never experienced before. It happens all the time, and I love it. I just soak it all in. So
I'm the same way. When I travel, I want to eat anywhere I've ever heard of before.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to do things that I've always done. Lie on the beach, but I just want to try something new. I want to know what the locals are into. So, and I feel so much more creative and so much better when I come back from even a short trip, just being in a totally different environment. So I can only imagine what's going on with your brain. Your head's going to get bigger. You're going to have so many telomeres.
That's funny.
You really need a new hat after a year.
I should measure the circumference. Oh, my brain is getting so big. I know.
But in the most delightful
Cool.
way. So you are an expert, a self-described expert in self-care, which I love the whole field of self-care. I talk to a lot of people about it, but I want to know from you, define self-care. What does it mean and why is it important, especially now?
Well, self-care, oh my goodness, to be okay inside, it's again, the inside out kind of perspective. A lot of people, I bet a lot of people that are attracted to you and your podcast too are probably givers. They want the world to be a better place. They give to the world. And that's wonderful. And I do too, and you do too, but we need to make sure we are okay also. We are also very, very valuable, and we can't give from an empty cup, of course. We all know that, but we, to take care of our own heart, our own soul, our mind, our bodies, is important for, all the reasons that we can think of, whether it's to be able to give more or to be just centered more in line with our purpose. So what it means, in my opinion, self-care is not, it can include taking bubble baths and having, the nights off to do fun things. For me, it includes travel, which is fun, and but it also includes, self-care to me is being really in touch with my purpose in life. My purpose, what makes me feel alive, what makes me happy, why I'm here. And when my soul's deepest cravings are met and I'm living in the moment, then I feel like I'm really taking care of myself at the deepest level.
Oh, wow. You said my soul's deepest craving. I'm a words person. I normally have a tab if I can jot things down like that because, oh my goodness. And when your soul's deepest cravings have been met, it's a whole different feeling. And it is such a wonderful rush of peace, Yeah. You mentioned something, and this wasn't on my list, but you talked about trying to pour from an empty cup, and I am a giver. Healthcare providers tend to be. You're a healthcare provider, and that tends to be why we're attracted to the profession. But how do people know when their cup is empty? Because I've been around some people lately who seem they're still trying, but they seem like it is just draining them, and it is. It's like they're angry about their compassion or something. For ourselves, how can we recognize? I mean, I can see it, but they don't seem to know yet that they need to take a time out. And I don't want to say, who am I to tell you, hey,
yeah. It can be tricky at that point,
yes.
Whether you
my head snapped off,
But it's, I mean, I sometimes go around and don't even realize that I am on empty. Sometimes we're so busy. That's a good point. We're so busy. We're so into what we're doing. And maybe at the beginning of that task, we were just full. And then we get into, I just want to finish. I want to finish. And then it's depleted and we need a little more gas. We put in a little more gas along the way to have that longevity, to have the ability to keep on going long term. And that little bit of gas might be taking a 5-minute break, getting some water. This says always half full, which is kind of funny.
Mine says water.
Speaking of cups. But that's a good point. I mean, to be checking in on ourselves once in a while. Hey, how am I feeling right now? How's my body feeling? Oh, in the core, I have this like tension. Am I feeling good? Is it flowing? Am I still at this task because I am loving it, or is it because I have to? And maybe that have to still is there. Maybe there's a deadline or job or whatever, but that doesn't exclude the good parts. You can still, say, hey, what do I need right now? Do I need to just text a friend? Do I need to text a loved one and just say, hey, I need to take a breather. Can you just tell me one good thing about me right now? I know it sounds funny, but just one little good thing. Yeah, or drink some water. Maybe it's just a really basic physical thing, or just be kind. How am I feeling about myself? Am I being really hard on myself because I want to be perfect, or I want to do this? What can I appreciate about my own self at this moment in time?
Give yourself some grace. I like that idea about calling a good friend.
Yeah.
Tell me something nice about myself. It reminds me, I got a birthday card recently from a dear friend, and it said something to the effect that a good friend sings the song in your soul when you've forgotten the word. They remind you of the song in your soul when you've forgotten the word.
I've heard of that one. I love that one.
Isn't that beautiful? I don't know who said it, but I that was my first time seeing it when I saw it on the cup, and I thought that is exactly what my friends do. They can get me out of any kind of fun pretty quickly.
That's a true friend. That's a treasure.
And I think that might be part of self-care too, is if you don't have close relationships, good friends, somebody you can trust, somebody who can just see you raggedy, or, who can see you looking your best and they're okay with you. We really, really need that. I recognize that more than ever during this stay-at-home time, Oh my goodness.
Yeah, me too. Oh yeah.
Connect with would have been horrible for me.
So difficult. Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned in my first book, there's like a chapter about connections, and it says something similar to what you mentioned about how choosing people that we surround ourselves with, because our environment is so powerful. We can be as strong as we want and know all the right things to do and say and have pure heart and everything, but if you were constantly bombarded, it's going to be depleting. So choosing our surroundings is so important. And there are friends, there are lots of people in the world. There are people that will cheer you on when you are doing well. And I want those kind of people. I think that's healthy to have people that really want the best for you and they are happy for you winning and don't have all these underlying, they truly care and want you to succeed is really important. Equally as important is when you're not doing well, are they still there for you? Are they there? Both ends are, I don't think one's more important than the other. I think it's both very important.
That's a great comment there. It's, to notice who's not clapping when you do well.
Yes.
It's really, because people can be, the gaslighting and other little things that they do, especially as we get older and careers get more competitive. You have to really, really be discerning about who you let into you got to work with them, but you don't have to let them into your, personal space. You got to protect that and have those great thoughts and all of that. This is good stuff. What about meditation? Why is that important? You mentioned that there was some different types of meditations on your website, and I saw those. I kind of like the way they were grouped, but why is that an important part of it?
Yeah, well, there are so many different types of meditation, but they've done some studies on meditation, and just after a few seconds, you start making your out breath longer than your in breath. You start getting into this different mindset where you're not just so scatterbrained or from being bombarded from the outside in, but you start to focus your mind, and quiet your mind. Doesn't mean make it blank. That's not even possible. But just
not for me anyway.
No, not even when we sleep is it possible. But meditation is very healthy for the brain. We were talking about the neural pathways, and it allows us to be on purpose. in our lives. So, for example, when in meditation, when you have we're going to have tons of thoughts coming across our brain, like clouds floating by in the sky, like waves coming in and out. When we decide which one to surf, we decide which wave to surf, we decide which cloud to focus on and which one to let go on by. And once we start making that a practice and we learn, oh, this is how I become in charge of my own brain and physiology and the whole and emotions, because it's all connected. Heart and brain, very, very, there's a big connection. So once we start to, on purpose, choose how we're going to feel and think, the rest of the day actually becomes a little bit easier to start doing things on purpose as well. You know, if something happens with a coworker, someone or a stranger, someone's rude to us for no reason, and you don't deserve being treated that way. If I was not in the right space, it could knock me out of balance emotionally for a long time. But if I was in the right space with a practice, maybe I could acknowledge it, let myself feel what comes up for that, because it's healthy to let yourself feel, and then release it, you know.
It sounds like it can almost become sort of like an armor in a good way for all the toxic stuff that might come at you later. But you did say something that, you know, was very helpful to me when I started meditating some years ago, because I always thought it was like, I didn't know what the monks were thinking about as they were sitting there, but I assumed it was nothing. And so I was trying to sit in this uncomfortable position and totally clear my mind, and I just couldn't get it together, and things kept coming, and I gave up for a long time because no one had really explained to me, you know, how it works, and that it wasn't necessary for my mind to be a blank slate.
Right.
I was levitating. And yeah, just the being still and the deep, slow breaths. You said to exhale longer than you inhale. I've never heard that before.
Oh, yeah. So when you start to breathe, and there's some breathing techniques where you can, you know, breathe in, count to 3 or 4, hold, count to 3 or 4, and then exhale and count to 4 or 8, and when you make your exhale longer than your inhale, it changes the nervous system. So it actually starts slowing your heart rhythm down. It starts slowing your body down when you do that. There's something about the exhale that does this. It's amazing. Yeah.
I vaguely remember from anatomy and physiology that we have some like residual air in there that we can, you know, call on the blowout. But how many times can you do that now? If you just
Well, I see what you're saying.
And I'm blowing out more than I'm taking in. I'm just saying, it just at some point I was going to kill over. I don't know. I'm just asking for a friend. I don't know.
Have to blow out more than you inhale, but it's the amount of seconds. Like, so you might inhale, let's say, I'm just going to make up a number because I don't know how much we do. Let's just say we inhale 2 pounds of air. But if you do, okay, so if I inhale 2 pounds of air in 4 seconds, it might be like this. That was a lot. But then when I exhale, I can make it 8 seconds. So it doesn't mean there's going to be 4 pounds of air. It's going to be like, there's going to be 2 pounds, but it's going to to be like a slower amount per second.
Okay, I'm glad I asked. Yeah. I might have just saved
good question. Yeah, good question. I didn't explain that very well.
That's okay. I'm very detail oriented. Yeah. Some people say anal. I don't own that label, but I want to understand. I'm curious. I want to understand. That's all.
Thank you. I don't think people ask that, and that's important. Yeah.
Thank you for thanking me. All right, here we go. So we're getting ourselves centered and clearing our minds and understanding how we wake up and go to bed, which is why I do not watch the news. right before I go to bed, and I love the news. I love reading. I love all those things. But right before bed, I want the calmest stuff possible because it just jacks up my sleep, Dr. Daphne. It really does. And it took me a long time to realize this is related to that war movie I watched right before I went to bed. That's why I'm in my sleep fighting people. I don't even, how to shoot an AK, but I'm wearing a vest in my sleep.
Yeah, it does. It really affects us a lot.
So I'm glad that there is science behind that it's not just, a little conclusion I came to in my no research whatsoever. So
definitely.
Let's talk more about tips to manage stress, though, because that is just an ongoing problem for most adults. Almost everybody I know, unless they're, retired and crazy wealthy, is inundated with different forms of stress. Can you give us just a few tips on?
Yeah, let's do a couple. Yeah, sure. That's great, though. I mean, we all have stress, and stress is part of life. So I think the first tip I would give anyone is to give yourself just to be kind to yourself and just realize, hey, you're stressed. There's nothing wrong with you. This is just how life is right now. And give yourself a little, what do you call it? I don't even know what the right word is, but just be nice to yourself about it. Don't give yourself extra stress by saying you're stressed and you shouldn't be stressed. So then you're stressed about being stressed. So just accept it for a minute. Also, the breathing does really help. If you put your left hand on your heart and you just take 30 seconds, if you're stressed anywhere you are, go to the bathroom. I say bathroom because that's where you can have some privacy. Maybe coworkers won't follow you there, hopefully. Your children hopefully won't also. Who knows? But try to get a room where you have a little bit of quiet for 30 seconds. No one's going to interrupt you. And breathe. Put your left hand on, and you breathe, and you make your exhale longer than your inhale. And, there's something else I wanted to tell you about the morning thing in a minute. But if you go back to that morning, or even if you have to remember and do it that moment, what is one word or one phrase that you can say and just focus on that? It could be peace. It could be your favorite color, green. It could be unconditional love. You could say a little prayer. You could have an affirmation for that morning and just do that. And while you breathe, and that will reset a little bit. And then that one thing I wanted to go back to, is this a good time to, real quick, about this morning thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You have the floor, ma'am.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to the things that you can do very easily in the morning or in the evening before going to bed. And it's really smart of you to turn off the news, because the news is from the outside in, and you want to be in charge of how you are feeling especially during those crucial times. They say that having a sense of purpose when you wake up and or gratitude is an easy way to reset that morning. And purpose is very interesting because purpose and stress can be related sometimes. But there are also studies about stress and burnout. And stress is not the same as burnout. Stress does not necessarily make things bad for you. I mean, if someone has a lot work stress actually was not associated with shorter telomeres. Burnout was, but work stress wasn't. And the way they differentiated that was that work stress had to do with having a purpose. So you might have a deadline, you might have this or that you have like stress about, but it's because you care about that result. And that means that there's some sense of purpose intertwined with that. And that's okay. Yeah, but burnout is more like a sense of dread, maybe maybe some toxicity in the space, that is not healthy. That's different. So those are a few things that came up, I wanted to throw in there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you did. Glad you did that. You circle back to that. I mean, this is such an important topic. We know the suicide rates, the self-medication, abusive, the misuse of various stimulants and, stuff to help us get up, stuff to help us go to sleep. And it's, not that you're a bad person. It's good that we have pharmaceuticals to assist, but when those just become a way of life because you're so, stressed out and it's all stress related, then it just gets to be a problem and just a vicious cycle, I think. So these tips that you think stuff, but I learn every time I talk to one of my expert guests, like, something, and I'm a why person, not just do it, but why and what's going to happen. And that really motivates me. Now I'm trying to grow some telomeres or whatever. So, not that my hair is awesome. Lord, but
I love it. Yeah, why is super important. And it reminds me too, every time I talk about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember to do that, Daphne.
Yes. Practice what we preach, right?
Yeah.
Practice what we preach. I know with my communication thing, but me trying to get people to use their words, and then I catch myself just, pouting and shutting up and being ice one. I'm like, okay, this is not how we deal with conflict. So, yeah.
Okay.
But we're human, right? We are
all human. Yeah. You're not alone. Yeah. We all do that.
Let's talk about your soul spa, which is just, your website thing. That is such a beautiful, beautiful concept. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? You got information and resources. Just share with us how you came up with that concept and how it works.
Yeah. Spa for the soul. Soul spa. It is soul spa. It just has a special part in my heart and in my soul. I know that's corny, but it was created. I created it because I want to create a healing space for people, and not just in a basic level, but I want to go down to the soul level. I think the best, instead of putting band-aids on things, I want to go down and just help people create the life so they don't have to escape from, as much as possible. And that starts with releasing things that have been held on for so long that have not created space for the new. It also involves exploring and knowing yourself well enough to know what would be satisfying, what lifestyle or life would make me feel every day when I wake up and open my eyes. What would be different? How would I know things were different? And what would that satisfy in me with my relationship, with my purpose, with how I feel about myself, with how I feel about what I give to the world, with my health, with my mentality, with my emotions, with my spirituality, connection with God, with everything. And creating the life, being on purpose as much as possible. I know sometimes things take time to develop, but it's still possible to be at cause and to be aware of things. So I think oftentimes we're not even aware of, oh, this is causing me a lot of stress that it's not really that good for me. It's not the good stress. It's not the you stress, it's the this stress.
Right,
and maybe I should choose different people. I'm texting this person, but I get very stressed when I'm texting them. Why is that? Is it, oh, I always feel this certain way about myself. I wonder why that is. It's just really digging deep and exploring what already exists, and then creating the new blueprint. And nurturing self from the inside out during that process. And I do a lot of meditations, and my meditations happen to be usually guided meditations. So you don't have to do all the work yourself. You can just relax. I have a sleep meditation, for example. You just push play. I have one for the daily affirmations. So in the morning, I think it's 3 or 5 minutes. You just press play. You don't have to come up with words. I have 0 words in the morning. I'm not verbal in the morning.
You said 0.
Yeah, I don't like to talk in the
I'm the
morning.
same with coffee. That's the only word I can utter.
That
That's
can be
my
your
vocabulary. Yes, 2 syllables. Coffee. Maybe,
Yes.
please. But that's about
Oh,
it.
that's nice. You can come and please. That's very nice. But sometimes having someone guide you through a healthy mental process can be helpful,
Mhm.
especially at the beginning. So that's what I try to do in the meditation.
Nice. Soul spa. Well, changing the subject a little bit, we're going to do an abrupt but necessary change because something on your profile caught my eye. I'm not sure how this fits into your services. You have a lot of hyphens there. You do a lot of amazing things. But I read that you can help singles, and I quote, get them to swipe right. I have this conversation with my girlfriends every weekend. So, as I told you before we started, if I didn't have asked this question, I would be failing them as a friend. How do you get them to swipe right and find the partner of your dreams online?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes, I have a short Kindle book on that, and it's pretty much a step-by-step from the beginning, like what website to go to, what kind of pictures to put on, what to say, and how do I? A few tips. You want a few tips?
Interesting. I didn't realize you
Yeah.
had a book on the subject. I saw some of your work, but I didn't see that. What is the book called?
Oh, it's called Get Them to Swipe Right.
Oh, that's the title of the book. Okay, I thought that was just you were bragging that you could do it.
Oh no. It wasn't for myself. It was the book.
Okay,
Well, yeah, that's part of
that's
the
the
book.
title of the book. All right.
Yeah.
And what the feedback from people?
Well, I would suggest, well, I've had people who have never been online before and got them started. And it can be very daunting if you've never ever tried it before, and it can be overwhelming, and you don't know who's on the other end. You really don't. This is okay. Let me tell you why I wrote this book. I wrote this book because of my personal experiences and because of my knowledge as a psychologist of people in general and everything. I was like, man, I need to just put this down on paper. So I put it down on paper, and then I was like, you're welcome. Anybody can pretend they are anybody online. And it's big. You got to be careful. Be careful. But I also found that there's so many really good guys that would make a great life partners who do not know how to present themselves online. This is the why when I started. And then there are also many guys that do know how to present themselves and may not be a great partner. Right. So, and that can be for female or male. It doesn't really matter. But that was just my experience and started it. So I wanted to create a way so that people that wanted to go online to find a life partner, not just to go and have fun and play around. If they want to, that's fine. But my instructions are not for that. They're for being, So being honest is extremely important. And I know that people think, yeah, but I want others to be honest too. That's true. But you start to be able to notice and read between the lines. There's like masculine and feminine energies. I don't know how to describe it completely, but if you are more of a personality, like I happen to be, I like to be receptive in a relationship. I'd like to attract a man who reaches out and takes the initiative. So that all starts online. And for the men who want to be the ones taking initiative, or, could be role reversal too. Either way, whatever you want, you have to start doing that when you're online. So I'm just trying to come up with an actual, a good tip.
Right. So are you saying, like, with the first little wink or saying something to them, that who takes that role that kind of sets precedent for something?
That does set precedence. And also what you put in your profile, make sure you put what you are looking for, not just selling yourself, but saying, hey, I would like a partner who has these qualities. I have this quality and this is my vision. It actually takes a lot of self-exploration to write a profile that says exactly what you want. It's easy to say, hey, just ask me more later or something, because it's not easy. It's not easy to write, this is who I am. This is what I want. It's not that easy.
And a lot of people, like, they have someone else write it for them, and then they've got these pictures that are photoshopped or old.
Right.
There's just
right. Yeah.
People can be deceptive, but to your point, there are, and I've been on multiple sites in the past, and there really are a lot of good people out there. And it's just, this is not something we learn in school, how to do. And
I know.
It is really hard. And then you hear one person tells you this, somebody else tells you to do that, just your friends, whatever happened to work for them, but it might have just been their picture. And
yeah.
It's
and there's a numbers game too. I mean, what I kind of try to remind people of is, you might have to sift through hundreds, but you're just looking for one. You're not trying to get every single person to like you. That's not the point. The point is to find your one. That's it. So don't be distracted by all these ones that are not working. It just means you're closer to the one that is working. And with pictures, pictures are very important. Like do a face shot, do full body.
Definitely full body.
Yeah, full body is important.
Headshots, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
What is wrong? What's happening?
Yes. Some people will just not ask for more. They'll just swipe left. They want to know for sure before they take a risk. So yeah. A lot of different things.
I'm sure that book has sold well, because that is an area that is just puzzling to most adults, is how to do that and come out. But I have at least 3 friends I can think of right offhand who met someone, and that's who they're married to. Might be second marriage, but they're really, really happy. So
that's great.
Work. And I've met some really nice people. It didn't, it wasn't a connection like that, but there are still a lot of good people in the world, right?
There are, yes. There are so many good people.
Yeah, they might not make the news, but we know they exist. So let's talk about your other book then, the Amazon bestseller in 3 different categories, I believe it was. Shrink.
Shrink.
What is it for? And who is it for?
Oh, shrink was a play on words, because I am a shrink. Right. But I wrote it already almost 5 years ago. I can't believe it. Time goes by fast. And it's about living a healthy lifestyle from the inside out. It's not about it says shrink, but it's not about being skinny just for the sake of being skinny. It's for anyone who wants to create a healthy lifestyle and live in the body of their dreams that will help them do whatever they want in their whole entire life and live a long, healthy life. And it's about how to do that by creating a life that is enjoyable, by eating what you love, by being in touch with how you're feeling and what you might be craving and why. It could be food, but it might be other things you're really craving. It could be connection. It could be boredom, all kinds of things. You're not craving boredom, you're craving excitement, sorry. And there's a workbook in the back too that guides you through exercises that you can do. Take you through.
Congratulations. Then 5 years then, I'm guessing you got another book.
Yeah, the third one just came out. My friend and I wrote it. It's about parenting teens who struggle with video games.
Oh my. Timely.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I've got a couple of teenage grandkids. Whoa. That is a battle.
Yeah.
And is this evidence-based, or how did you guys, I mean, I know Dr. Spock from way back in the day and other parenting guides, but parenting this particular group and their video games, that is so challenging.
Yeah, so video games are not necessarily bad in itself. Actually, they have a lot of great qualities. So only a very small percentage of people, of teens, will have an actual problem with it.
Is that considered an addiction, or is it an addiction, or it's a problem at that age?
We're just calling it a problem because addiction is not in the DSM for video games at this moment. So it's just we call it at risk or beyond risk. So if they're having at risk behaviors, that means maybe they're staying on a little too long, and maybe, if they're on the edge, whether it's affecting the rest of their life. But beyond risk is when maybe their grades have started to drop. Maybe they don't have any other social connections. They're not taking a shower or sleeping. Then it's become beyond risk. So the book walks people through the parents. It's for the parents, mm-hmm. And it has self-care in it. That's my specialty. Because that's number one. It's actually very important to start to create boundaries, mm-hmm. but not boundaries where the teen is doing things to avoid your anger, but more because it's empowering them, saying you are able to do this when you complete this, and not having any emotion about it or upset. This is how it is. And then they, like a video game, they start working towards their goal in their life. And the last chapter is about parenting like a video game, if that makes sense. Like creating things. Yeah, like creating situations. So video games are created in a certain way that really captivate the brain. There's intermittent
it's like Vegas, the slots.
Yes.
They're designed. Exactly. People just don't know all that lights and the noise and all of that is designed to keep you there.
Yes, it's designed to keep you there. And so it kind of breaks down, hey, this is what they do. You can use this too in your parenting. So you can be as powerful. Yeah.
That's powerful. That's powerful. It's fun. I want to circle back to one thing because I want to make sure we're all on the same page. DSM, that's the book where they categorize all of the mental health conditions, right? Yeah.
It's like the ICD. It's the official book to have a diagnosis, a psychological diagnosis. Yeah.
I just want to, I know everybody's not in healthcare, not in the same place. I want to make sure I don't want anybody to leave my program with wondering about anything except how I can use this information to make my life better. And you might need to go look in the DSM and see what's wrong with somebody I don't know. So, it's not really for that purpose, but it does exist. There really is a list. Yeah, the ICD.
Yes, there is, especially for health insurance companies to reimburse. They use that.
Yes.
Or the ICD-10. Yes, 37.
Well, before you go, Dr. Daphne, this has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. Very revealing. I've learned a lot from dating to my teens to self-care, all things that really make me feel better. This has been
fun. I've had a lot of fun in this conversation with you.
I'm so glad you took time out of your trip to join me, your world travels.
It was wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Tell our listeners and viewers, in this case, about your other services, how to connect with you online, how to find Dr. Daphne Erhart. Erhart.
Yeah. Well, my website is spa, the number 4, the soul.com, spaforthesoul.com. And you can reach me there if you'd like to. I have free gifts there.
Free gifts? What?
Free
Come on
gifts,
now.
yes. Free gifts. And if you want I do some employee wellness things. So if you would like your company or employer to have me connect with your company, it would be fun. I would love to meet you and join you and do that. Also, if you want to connect on YouTube, soulspatravel is my YouTube channel. Spaforthesoul.com and soulspatravel on YouTube.
We'll drop that in the show notes, and this will be posted on YouTube and on my on Libsyn on my podcast host, which will send it out to all of the pod platforms, so you can listen to this any kind of way you like to take in information. And definitely, you want to connect with Dr. Daphne. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure for me too. Thank you so much. I will.
Thank you.